Good Tuesday morning, everyone, and thanks for joining us. From the Ohio AgNet, the voice you know with the news you trust studio, sponsored by the Grain Equipment Company, where innovation meets execution. I'm Joe Everett. Well, currently 49 degrees outside here at the farm, and I hope everyone had a great Labor Day. As I drove around yesterday, you can definitely tell these crops are changing fast, so I look for farmers to get real busy here in the next couple of weeks preparing for this harvest season. As we look to other notes, Mercer Landmark will be hosting their third annual Agro Expo at the Lottie Agronomy Facility in Paulding. To learn more or attend, visit agroexpo.com. Then on Thursday's Midday Show, learn about soybean crush expansion in Ohio and what it means for biofuel opportunities. Now let's take a look at some of your agricultural news headlines. Well, PepsiCo sees biodiesel as sustainability option for trucking fleet. Amidst the tractors, implements, and seed dealers at the Farm Progress Show, one of the country's biggest food and beverage companies was promoting its use of higher biodiesel blends to haul its products and reduce greenhouse gas emissions. PepsiCo teamed up with Clean Fuels Alliance America to show how PepsiCo is converting its semi-truck fleet to use more biodiesel and reach PepsiCo's ambitious net zero emission goals. PepsiCo also is a corporate owner of Frito-Lay products. With its food and beverage businesses, PepsiCo has one of the country's largest private fleets with more than 80,000 diesel trucks and delivery trucks. With their 80,000 trucks, PepsiCo right now has converted 50 of its trucks to use B100, mainly in Topeka, Kansas, and Beltoy, Wisconsin. Year-to-date, PepsiCo and Frito-Lay has used about 250,000 gallons of biodiesel at those two facilities. In other news, there's no doubt that this year's corn crop will be big. Will it be as big as USDA's prediction of 15.147 billion bushels? Stephen Nicholson, the global sector strategist for grain and oilseeds with Rabobank, says he'll be watching information from a couple of specific corn growing areas.
There's no doubt that this is a 180 plus crop. There's just, you look around the country, drive the countryside for sure. I think the one thing I am going to be watching USDA down the road is what they do with northern Iowa and southern Minnesota. North of Highway 20, south of I-90, there's a lot of holes in that cornfield, and the farmers will tell you it was a difficult spring. So I would think that the yields potentially could come down a little bit from USDA's August yields.
Is there enough demand to eventually move the corn price higher?
I think yes. I'm going to say that the low prices are going to fuel on demand. The challenge, of course, is not necessarily demand in the world, but the relationship with China. And that's really where the problem is. And the other issue, of course, is ethanol. Is there growth in ethanol? Likely not. Is it going to go away? No, but it's still going to be there. So I think we have to worry about demand for corn, and I will say long-term for sure.
Nicholson added that ethanol qualifying as a feedstock for sustainable aviation fuel would help a great deal. In other news, global demand for U.S. soybeans has fallen sharply as international buyers remain discouraged by the strong dollar, slowing economic growth, and uncertainty over the direction of U.S. policy trade in an election year. Export sales of new crop soybeans are historically low as the 2024-2025 marketing year began on September 1st. A new report shows tailwind could emerge to rejuvenate demand for U.S. soybeans in the upcoming marketing year. CoBank's Knowledge Exchange issued a brief saying the pace of early season soybean export sales historically has a low correlation with the final marketing year export numbers. With a record U.S. soybean harvest expected this fall, continued weakness in prices will likely attract new export demand. Factors that could increase soybean exports could include a smaller than likely expected South American soybean harvest, a bump in EU demand for soybeans from non-forested acres, falling U.S. interest rates, and Chinese economic recovery that could fuel higher demand. Stay tuned. We'll be back to take a look at today's weather after this.
Get ready for the 62nd Annual Farm Science Review, September 17th, 18th, and 19th. It's more than a farm show. Explore over 600 exhibitors across 2.6 million square feet, providing equipment, services, and education for farms of all types and sizes. Tickets can be purchased at participating OSU Extension offices and agribusinesses, as well as online. Visit fsr.osu.edu to buy your Farm Science Review tickets now and plan your show visit. We look forward to seeing you at the 62nd Farm Science Review, September 17th, 18th, and 19th. Time is running out to earn more for your acres. The Soil and Water Outcomes Fund pays farmers to begin or expand on-farm conservation, like reduced tillage and cover crops. Last year, they paid farmers an average of $33 per acre. They offer one-year contracts, and 50% is paid prior to verification. Get paid to reduce erosion, improve your soil health, and more. Hurry to their website to request a payment estimate, theoutcomesfund.com. That's theoutcomesfund.com.
It's now time to take a look at today's weather, brought to you by Seed Consultants. Simply better performance online at seedconsultants.com. Here's the forecast.
Pleasant post-Labor Day weather. I'm Chief Meteorologist Ryan Martin with a look at that Ohio Ag weather update. I don't have any complaints as a guy that needs to be outside and running through things here over the next few days. If you're trying to work your way toward harvest and working on the equipment in the shop, it's going to be pleasant weather for that as well. Low humidity, cool temperatures to start, although I think we're starting to see south flow develop on the backside of high pressure today. That means our afternoon temperatures today a little bit warmer than yesterday. Tomorrow a little bit warmer than today. Humidity value staying down all the way through tomorrow. Humidity starts to creep up on Thursday ahead of our next frontal boundary that's going to be here on Friday. That front likely bringing showers and maybe a rumble of thunder, but I think it's slightly better coverage the way it looks right now for Friday afternoon through early Saturday. I think we're looking at anywhere from a tenth to 3/4 of an inch with coverage around 80% of Ohio. Very cool behind it, though, for the balance of Saturday afternoon, Sunday, and even Monday of next week. Temperatures moderate a little bit on Tuesday ahead of our next front that brings scattered showers for Tuesday afternoon, Tuesday night, and then we're back to the cool stuff again behind that for Wednesday and Thursday. So a little bit of a roller coaster on temperatures here. Not too extreme, but it's likely what we would normally call September weather as we see sunshine really heat us up during the day, but we have an opportunity for cooler temperatures to come in at night, especially if they're bolstered by any kind of Canadian air mass surge. I'm meteorologist Ryan Martin.
Hey, thanks, Ryan. Well, U.S. dairy farms vary widely in size, from fewer than 50 dairy cows to having 2,000 or more. While many factors can influence a dairy farm's production cost per unit of milk, such as technology use, management, and input prices paid, farm size can also affect cost. The Economic Research Service estimates the cost of milk production by dairy herd size based on the Agriculture Resource Management surveys conducted every 5 to 6 years. Based on the past 5 surveys, the average total production cost per 100 pounds of milk sold has been consistently lower for dairy farms with larger herd sizes. In 2021, the average total cost per 100 pounds of milk sold was $42.70 for herds with fewer than 50 cows. Farms with 2,000 or more had a cost of $19.14. Lower per unit production costs are attributable to spreading at least some expenses over a greater output. In other news, the Panama Canal is lifting restrictions that has caused a global shipping bottleneck as the water levels get back to near normal after a severe drought. Foreign Policy News says that the Panama Canal Authority increased the draft in the waterway to a maximum of 50 feet and will allow 36 vessels a day to cross after recent rains lifted water levels at an artificial lake that forms part of the canal system. The authority is also expecting rains to continue through November, further lifting water levels. About 30 to 32 vessels are currently traveling through the waterway, and that's still below a pre-drought capacity. The canal has restricted daily transit to as few as 24 while the drought was ongoing, and it will likely take 5 to 6 months for shippers to return in full. Rainfall is expected to lift water levels to 88 feet by November from the current level of around 85.8 feet of water. In other news, what are among the recently announced updates to USDA guidelines for both animal raising and environmental related claims found on meat and poultry labels? Rod Bain from the U.S. Department of Agriculture has more.
USDA recently updated guidelines for both animal raising and environmental-related claims found on labels for meat and poultry products. Deputy Undersecretary for Food Safety Sandra Eskin says among the guideline adjustments, strong encouragement of use of third-party verification sources.
They're particularly valuable because USDA's authority does not reach back to the farm. We cannot determine whether a product is in fact grass-fed or free-range. Therefore, we have to leverage these certifiers who have standards and who have systems to ensure the standards are correct.
Additionally, more robust documentation behind animal raising and environmental-related claims are strongly suggested. The labeling guidelines became effective when released in late August. Public comment on the updated guidelines are being accepted now through October 26th through the Federal Register. I'm Rod Bain reporting for the U.S. Department of Agriculture in Washington, D.C.
Hey, thanks, Rod, for that update. Well, the Farm Science Review inducted 3 individuals who have supported the show in numerous capacities, into its Hall of Fame on July 10th at its annual recognition banquet. Roger Bender, Susan Crowell, and Richard Unverfurth were recognized as the 2024 honorees. It's a special event each year to honor those who have gone above and beyond for the Farm Science Review, and it's always remarkable to learn more about other professional and personal accomplishments aside from their show involvement during the selection process, says Nick Zachridge, Farm Science Review manager. Congratulations, Roger, Susan, and Richard. To learn more about them and their induction into the Farm Science Review Hall of Fame, you can find that full article at ohioagnet.com. Stay tuned. We'll be back with the grain analysis and your overnight markets after this.
Time is running out for your chance to win a free TV, and all you have to do is subscribe or renew to your free subscription of Ohio's Country Journal. Subscribe or renew before September 20th, 2024, and you will be entered for a chance to win a free TV. Subscriptions are completely free, but we must have a new request on file from subscribers every 3 years. The process is quick and easy. Visit ocj.com/renew. That's ocj.com/renew. Time is running out, so subscribe or renew today.
Joey from Vermont, a farmer trying to get through the winter. Adriana from South Carolina, a single mother living paycheck to paycheck. Liam from Ohio, an injured father struggling to provide for his family. Hi, I'm Shanola Hampton, and I support the Feeding America network of food banks because they help provide over 6 billion meals to people in need each year. Learn more at feedingamerica.org.
It's now time for the Louis Dreyfus Grain Analysis, and that is brought to you by the Ohio Soybean Council and your soybean checkoff. Here's Ryan Martin.
Grain markets were closed on Monday in observance of the Labor Day holiday, but let's reset the goalposts after last week. For the week last week, corn gained 10 1/4 cents. Soybeans were up almost 30 from beginning to end. Bean meal and oil were up marginally, and wheat was up anywhere from 22 to 32.5 cents overall. Livestock markets didn't do a whole lot. Feeder cattle were down. Live cattle did rally. Hogs were up just slightly. Ethanol was up a little bit, about a penny or so, and the CRB index was a little bit weaker overall. The U.S. dollar rallied last week. Crude oil futures fell. OPEC is preparing to raise production slightly in October amid an array of questions surrounding world demand. The U.S. Central Bank is going to be cutting its lending rate with the degree to be determined by the U.S. September jobs report that comes out this Friday. Most are leaning toward a 25-point cut in the federal fund rate based on ongoing and strong consumer spending, but there is an outside chance that we could see a half-point drop as well. Overall, there wasn't much headlines over the weekend to get the market super excited. World corn markets recovered last week on the continued strength in South American and Black Sea FOB premiums, and questions are developing regarding USDA's 183 yield forecast. Now, it depends on where you're at how much those questions are in terms of a reduction, but I think the heat that really settled in early to midweek last week across the I-states really got some folks' attention. I'm not sure it did a whole lot, but we will see. Probably did more on the soybean side than it did the bean side. EU and Russian yield data has been hit by bad weather this year. Private Russian crop estimates are down to about 81 to 83 million metric tons versus 93 at the beginning of the season last year. And wheat now is a little bit more competitive on the U.S. side on the world stage. I'm Ryan Martin.
Hey, thanks, Ryan. Now let's take a look at your overnight markets, brought to you by Seed Consultants. Simply better performance online at seedconsultants.com. Starting with September corn, $3.78, no change. December new crop corn, $4.75, down a quarter. September beans, $9.78 3/4, down 3 1/4. November soybeans, $9.99 1/4, down 3/4. September wheat, $5.32 3/4, no change. Now looking at livestock from Friday's close, October live cattle 178.60, up 70 cents. December live cattle 177.55, up 85 cents. October lean hogs 82.22, up 5 cents. December lean hogs 72.77, up 23 cents. October feeder cattle 237.75, up $1.08. November feeder cattle 235.25, up 85 cents. September Class 3 milk, $22.38, down 3 cents, and October Class 3 milk, $22.87, unchanged. Thanks for joining us. I'm Joe Everett, and you're listening to the Ohio AgNet.